you will write at the same place where you did write the test 1. In test 1, if you sit by mistake at the wrong place, in the wrong room, please this time you should choose to the right place according to the list I shared. I will also share again, but you can still check with the previous list for the room allocation and sitting arrangement. Okay. The coverage for the test will be the accounting for non-profit making organization, where we prepare the accounts for clubs, societies, and trust, and also on the partnership, the introduction of partnership, the basic accounts for partnership with the income statement, statement of profit and loss appropriation account, capital account, and current, and admission of the partners up to here will be the coverage. Okay. Before I proceed, would you like to say anything? Anyone? Barina, would you like to say anything? All right. Silence means you are all fine. All okay? Okay, so today we are going to practice some of the exercise on the admission of partner, how to prepare the account when a partnership join, a new partner join the existing partnership. The coverage I said, the accounting for non-profit making organization and the accounts for partners in terms of profit and loss appropriation account, current account, capital, and the updated balance sheet when the new partners join the firm. Because when the new partner join the firm, the ratio of profit and sharing will change. So on the basis of those changes, how does it affect the balance sheet or statement of financial position? That's all. Okay, so today we are going to do the class activity, and I also put the question for the tutorial. If you can manage to attend the tutorial, please attend. Otherwise, you can go through that question without looking the answer. If you will able to answer that question, I upload on the WhatsApp group. Okay, thank you. So let me share. Can you see the document? Not this one. Okay, I'll repeat before we start this exercise. There's no much to do in the books of account when the new partner admit one or more than one partners admit in the business. So the new partner, when they come, they also bring either the capital in the business, some
Mic wasn't muted. ayun na sing yan siya. Pwedeng kata.
Ma'am, you are muted.
How come I was muted? Sorry, where I was? Since when you didn't hear me? Anyone? Can you see this document?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, so let me start from the beginning what I was explaining. Before we attempt those class activities, there are certain conditions because we are doing the accounting in the partnership when one or more than one partner admit in the partnership. Okay, so there are different scenarios or conditions on which a partner can admit in the business. Like a new partner, sometimes he just coming without any goodwill. He just only bring the capital to the business because he is also highly skilled. He doesn't need to bring, he does not need to provide the goodwill. So in that scenario, how to record in the book? So in this situation, the partnership firm is only calculate the goodwill of the business which is already exist before the new partner join, and that goodwill share among the old partners. And when the new partner join, as the profit and loss sharing ratio change, so how much the portion sacrificed by the old partner, that amount of goodwill goes to the new partner. The second scenario, the new partner is joining the business, coming with the capital, as well as he is also providing the premium of goodwill to the business, but all partners agree to give the goodwill personally instead of giving to the business, partnership business. So in that situation, we only record the capital in the books of account. Like here, if the partners agree to pay the goodwill privately only to the old partners, they are giving to the partners, not to the partnership. So the new partner, he bring the capital 20,500 and goodwill 9,800. When he is paying privately to the old partners, then it has not been to recorded in any books of account, either in journal entries, ledger, or in balance sheet. Are we together? The second condition, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The second situation, when the new partner joining the business, he is bringing the capital, but at the same time, he is also bringing the goodwill in a cash, the premium of goodwill in the cash. So if the new partner joining the existing business and bringing both capital and goodwill, in that situation, we record the transaction of goodwill and also the capital. So the cash or the bank account will be debit in the ledger. So cash and bank debit, and there are two columns you can see here. One column is only to record the amount which is debited, and the second column we use to record the amount which is credited in the ledger account. But we do not draw in a form of ledger account, T account side by side. So the cash and bank account will debit, and this cash come as a capital, and also the premium for goodwill we record in a credit side, because when the capital increase, we also record in a credit side of capital account. So we make entry, then goodwill has been recorded, then this goodwill is also shared to the old partners when it's come in the business. The goodwill adjust or share with the old partners with their sacrificing ratios according to the sacrificing ratios. From the goodwill, how much is receiving by the old partners, because that portion will goes to the new partner. So for that, you need to calculate how much the old partners has sacrificed when the new partner joined. So sacrifice ratio is always calculate old ratio minus new ratio. Old ratio like is 5 is to 4, so 5/9, and the new ratio is 3 is to 2 is to 2. So sorry, 4 is to 3 is to 2. So when you add is also give total 9. 4 plus 3 7 plus 2 9. So the first partner proportion is 4/9, second 3/9, and the third one 2/9. So that is their new ratio. We subtract and see how much they sacrifice. They are sacrificing 1/9 portion. So that much proportion of the goodwill goes to the old partner. The cash account premium, and then we record how much goes to the old partner. Then you no need to pass all the ledger entries and trial balance. Then you can just, because it's a affect only goodwill. Goodwill is an asset, and the capital which is bringing by the new partner, it is only recorded in the balance sheet. So you no need to prepare the rest of account after making those general entries. The income statement, because it doesn't affect the income statement of the business, it doesn't affect the ledger accounts, and then you only record correct or prepare a new balance sheet for the business after admitting a new partner. Sometimes, yes, the goodwill which is bringing by the new partner is also withdrawn by the old partner. The goodwill which is come, then how much proportion they are getting from it, they can withdraw, they can take, utilize for their personal use. So for that, when the goodwill and the capital coming from the new partner, the entry will be same as we discussed before. The cash or bank account will debit. He bring the capital 31,500. He also bring the premium, the extra surplus of goodwill with 11,600. So the total amount brought into the business is 43,100, including the capital and goodwill. Then how much proportion they sacrifice, accordingly we calculate that proportion of the goodwill for the new, sorry, for the old partners. Here you can see the M, he sacrificed 1/5 portion and sacrificed nothing. Is very simple to calculate the sacrifice ratio. Old ratio minus new ratio for the old partner. You just calculate the same denominator and subtract. Then 1/5 portion will also goes to the partner M, because he sacrificed for the new partner. So 1/5 portion of the goodwill will goes to M account, and then M has been withdrawn. He taken from the bank. So M capital account with 2,320 from the bank, because the goodwill first come into the bank. Now it is taken back. So when you take from the bank account will be credit, and the M account or personal account, capital account will be debited, because that much portion goes to M account, right? So he withdrawn and it was recorded in his capital account. So that's how we make the entries. Some partners, they bring the goodwill, as I said, in a form of assets, or in a form of inventory. Inventory is also asset. So when the goodwill bring in kind, what kind of asset they bring? Maybe he bring, so we write the asset account debit, because when the asset come in the business, according to the double entry rule, assets are recorded in debit side of ledger account. So assets accounts are debited and the capital account is credited. So all the assets you will write there, and their amount you will write in a debit side. These assets also increase the capital. So capital and the amount premium of goodwill, how much amount he invested as a premium of goodwill, will write here. So that's how we record. So these are the some basic condition in which the goodwill come into the business. Okay, now we are going to see some activities. Now you understand, you have seen certain scenarios in which the capital and the goodwill bring into the business, but how it has been assessed in a form of question, you are going to see by these class activities. Like number one, uh, there is a partnership of Jim and John are in partnership, sharing profit and losses equally. They decided to admit Sam by agreement. Goodwill valued at 40,000 is to be introduced into the business books. Yeah, so they haven't calculated the goodwill before, but now they just calculated the goodwill of the business and it has been recorded in the books of account. Same is required to provide capital equal to the Zim after he has been credited with his share of goodwill. The new profit sharing ratio is to be 8:3:5 respectively for Zim, John, and Sam. The balance sheet before admitting the new partner was this. Uh, this is the, and on the basis of this information, we have to pass the journal entries for the admission of new partner and also open the balance sheet of the business after the new partner joins. So that is called the balance sheet for new business. New business means after the new partner join the business. Okay. So first of all, let's see what these new partners bring. So when the old business was running, they decided to calculate the goodwill. Do you know how to calculate the goodwill in the business? Is anybody know how the amount of goodwill is calculated or determined? Anyone wants to try? I can't hear anything. Anyone? Do you know how to calculate the goodwill, amount of goodwill?
Ma'am, me, I don't know how to calculate it.
Okay. It's a very simple. Goodwill, as we say that it is intangible asset, right? Is an asset which is not, you can't see, you can't touch, but it is actually the value of a reputation of business. The reputation business created by their hard work, loyalty, and the good customer service. So sometimes you have when we calculate the goodwill, we find out, okay, what is the current value of the asset the business has in terms of current and non-current. We determine their values if they have the machinery running the business from last 10 years. So after 10 years now, what is the value of machineries, plant, furniture, equipment? We determine their current value and find out if we are selling this business with this asset, on what price it could be go. So if they find, okay, it could be sell maybe, like suppose in this example, the total of current and non-current asset is 161,000. We normally do not include the cash, 160,000, and this asset can be sold on 190,000 or 200,000. So how much value we are gaining on this business by selling the business to another party? The value of my business assets is 160,000, but I'm able to sell my business with the same asset on the same condition on 200,000. So you subtract 200,000 minus 160. So the difference is 40,000. So 40,000 will be valued as a goodwill. Actually, is the difference between the market selling price of the business minus the value of assets in the business. Are we together? Do you understand? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we understand.
Okay. So that's how they calculate the goodwill, and they find the 40,000 is the goodwill. Goodwill always share among the partner according to their profit and loss sharing ratio. So when the new partner did not join, the goodwill was 40,000. This goodwill has to be shared among the old partners. So we pass the general entries for the admission of new partner. The goodwill was in the business 40,000. Out of it, the same capital account is credited by 20,000, and the John capital account is also credited, means when it is increased, we record in a credit side of the capital account. So 2020, so the goodwill is shared among the old partners. Then the same join the business, and he bring, the question says same is required to provide capital equal to that of Jim after he has been credited with, oh, John, sorry. John, after she has been credited with her share of goodwill. So Jenny is, let's say he, after he has been credited with his share of goodwill. So how much share of his goodwill in the old business, John? How much share he has? 20,000, right? And previously, how much capital he invested in the business? John?
50,000.
50,000. And 50,000 plus 20,000, the share he get from the goodwill. So his total capital is become 70, okay? So the new partner, Sam, he provided the capital which was equal to the Jones capital, including the share of his goodwill. So 50 plus 20, it means the Sam is also bring 70,000 as a capital in the business. So for that, we make a entry. He bring the capital, it increase the cash or cash at bank. So cash account or bank account with 70,000 from Sam's capital account. It's because he provided as a capital into the business. Now, when the Sam joined the business, the profit sharing ratio has been changed. Now it is 8:3:2 respectively. So on the basis of it, now we need to prepare the new balance sheet for the new business. So previously we have current and non-current asset 460,000, cash was 1,000, liability 41,000. There is no any other information about the liabilities increase or decrease. And then the capital, proportion of capital they bring into the business, right? So you can see these figures. We are also going to use those some of the figures when we are creating the new balance sheet for the new business. So we start the balance sheet by indicating the intangible asset and the tangible asset. Okay, right. So goodwill came as 40,000 valued in this year. The value of current and non-current asset, it was 160,000. Then cash has become 71,000. Do you know how the cash has become 71,000?
No, ma'am.
Previously the cash was how much? Before the new partner joined, how much was the cash? Let me show you.
It was 50,000.
Cash in the books of account previously.
1,000.
1,000. And that this new partner, Sam, when he joined, he provided the capital equal to the share of John plus including the portion of goodwill, which is 70,000. He provided the capital with 70,000, right? Okay. So 1,000 plus 70,000, because this capital, it came as a cash. So now the cash is become 71,000. Are we together? You get it now? So that's how we get 71,000. You understand?
Ma'am.
Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
So the 70,000 that Sam is paying is 50,000 of the other one's capital
Capital.
plus
Yeah.
20,000 of goodwill.
Yeah, they bring when the capital come, we record in a credit side of capital account, but it is also increase the cash or amount at the bank, right? You remember when we make the ledger entries, the capital introduced, we record it in a credit side of capital account as well as in the debit side of cash account or bank account.
Yes, ma'am.
The same way we are doing it here, okay? It has
Yes,
been
ma'am.
recorded. So the cash was previously 1,000, then this asset capital is become 71,000. So the total asset is 271,000. The liability does not change, increase or decrease. So still the liability is 41,000. We subtract the liability. Then the total net asset value of the business is 230,000. And then the capital, Zim, he provided 70,000 as capital plus he gets 20,000 as a portion of goodwill. So his total proportion is 90,000. John, he provided 50,000 plus 20,000 as a proportion from the goodwill because they share the goodwill 40,000, 20 equally. So 50,000 plus 20 becomes 70,000. Sam, he brought 70,000 as capital. When you add, his total is also 230,000. So net asset is equal to the finance supplied in the business. Are we together? Okay. Anyone who do not understand this, the balance sheet of new business?
Ma'am, can you please go scroll up to the question?
Okay. Yeah, here's the question. Are you okay?
So calculating the capital, we don't use the profit sharing ratios.
Calculating the capital.
Yes, the capital at the end.
No, capital never share in a profit and sharing ratio. The profit and sharing ratio is only to share the profit or the goodwill, but not the capital. Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am,
Hmm?
kindly repeat the part where we had to find goodwill.
Where we have to?
Find goodwill.
No, the goodwill is already given in the question. You see? They said Zim and John are in partnership sharing profit and loss equally. They decided to admit the new partner as Sam. By agreement, the goodwill valued at 40,000 to be introduced into the books first time. So when they're joining the new partner, that time they do the valuation of their share asset and find out uh, the goodwill of the business, which was 40,000. Okay. So this is the amount of goodwill before the new partner join. It is not the goodwill bring by the new partner. So it is the previous goodwill. So that's why it has been shared equally by the old partners. Uh, the goodwill can be shared with the new partner if it is bring by the new partner. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm. So that's why they get 20,000. Zim get 20,000. That's why his proportion in the business become 90, 70 plus 20. And the John, he invested 50,000, but he also get the portion of goodwill 20,000. So his contribution becomes 70. 50 plus 20, 70. Yes, please go ahead with your question.
Earlier you were explaining how to calculate goodwill. Can you please repeat that?
Because the goodwill, it says that the business valued their goodwill 40,000, right? And before the new partner joined, the partnership profit loss sharing ratio was equal. They were sharing equally. That's why the equal means half half. That's why half of the goodwill will go to the partner one and half of the goodwill goes to the partner two. If there is any other ratio, it has been shared according to that ratio. That was your
Ma'am,
question?
ma'am,
Hmm.
I think they mean when you said that goodwill is equals to the market price of the business minus the value of the assets.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I was telling that that's how we calculate the goodwill. That's how we calculate the goodwill. If you get me, like they said the goodwill was valued 40,000 means the value of their assets maybe is 120,000 after deducting the liability. Sorry, after deducting the liability, the value of asset is 120,000. If they are selling those assets, it can be sold 160,000. So they make 40,000 goodwill because of the reputation of the business. That's what I was trying to say. Are we all together?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Okay, can we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when we prepare the balance sheet, it only shows that the changes in the cash because when the new partner bringing the capital or the premium of goodwill, it is if it is coming as a cash, it will change the cash amount or bank account, and it is also change the proportion of their contribution by the each partner. That's how the change comes in the new balance sheet. And then the capital of Zim 20,000, how it is sharing. Then we find out the sacrificing ratio, how much goodwill from the Jim or John going to share according to their sacrificing ratio. Let's see another example. Okay, read this question carefully. Can you see it clearly? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, read the question. Okay, so the next question is saying A and B are partners in a firm sharing profit and losses in the ratio of 3:2. They admit C into the partnership for 1/5 share. C bring 30,000 as capital and 10,000 as goodwill. At the time of admission of C, goodwill appears in the balance sheet of A and B at 3,000. New profit sharing ratio of the partners shall be 5:3:2. Then pass the journal entries for the changes in the business. So A and B, who were sharing profit and loss 3:2, they admit a new partner with the giving the share 1/5 in the business, and he bring the capital and the goodwill. So first of all, we have to make the journal entries for the capital and the goodwill they bring into the business. So for that, you know how to pass the journal entries. When the goodwill and capital coming, either it is coming into the bank or in a form of cash. So either you can write here cash account, account is debit. You can write debit and amount will be written in the debit column to premium for goodwill account and also the capital account. So he bring the capital as 30,000 and goodwill as 10,000. Sorry, capital is 30 and the goodwill is 10,000. So the new partner C, he bring total amount 40,000 into the business. Then this, they admit the partner C. At the time of admission of C, goodwill appears in the balance sheet of A and B as 30,000. It means before the new partner joined, the old goodwill of the business was 3,000. Do you understand? At the time of admission of C, the goodwill appears in the balance sheet of A and B at 3,000. It means before he joined, it was 3,000. So the premium of goodwill is depend on how much premium is going to distribute between A and B. The goodwill bring by the third partner is also based on the sacrificing ratio. So how much portion A and B sacrifice when the new partner joined? The old ratio was 3:2 between A and B. 3:2 means 3/5 and 2/5. Are we together? And the new ratio has become 5:3:2. So 5/10, 3/10, and 2/10. So sacrificing ratio, we always calculate old ratio minus new ratio. So the old ratio is 3/5 minus 5/10. And for the B, old ratio 2/5 minus new ratio 3/10. So to solve this equation, we create the same denominator. So we need to multiply by 2 on this both figure. 3 times 2, 6. 5 times 2, 10. So both get the same denominator, 10. 6 minus 5 is 1/10. Same thing for the partner B. 4 minus 3/10 is, so it means that both partners sacrificing equally. Do you understand how to calculate sacrificing ratio?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now they will get the portion of goodwill according to the ratio they sacrifice. So the total goodwill was 10,000. They are sacrificing equally, so they will get the equal proportion. So the premium of goodwill account debited by 10,000, and the A's, because it will goes in A's capital account, 5,000 will go to A and 5,000 will go B's capital account. So the amount of goodwill distributed between A and B in their sacrificing ratio. And the old goodwill will be shared with the new partner. So the old goodwill before the new partner joined, it was 3,000. You know, it was given in the question, this 3,000. The question saying at the time of admission of new partner, goodwill appeared in the balance sheet of A and B is 3,000. So the old new partner will also share the old goodwill. Now 3,000 is the goodwill which is going to be distributed between A and B in their old ratios, 3:5 and 2:5. So you can make a calculation. 3,000 times 3/5, which is give you 1,800. So in 3,000, the old partners A proportion was 1,800. And the partners B proportion was 3,000 times 2 divided by 5, 1,200. So B has the proportion 1,200. So A's capital account debit by 1,800 and B's to goodwill account, being existing goodwill written off between the all partners in their whole profit and sharing ratio. So you understand that part?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's move to the next example. When the goodwill is bring in a form of asset, not in a form of cash. So for that we have this example. Amontle and Batile are partners in a firm sharing profit and loss in a ratio of 3:2. On 1st April 2023, they admit debit a new partner for the 3/13 share in the profit. The new partner David contributed the following asset towards his capital and for his share of goodwill, land, for 90,000, machinery for 70,000, stock for 60,000, and debtors for 40,000. On the date of admission of David, the goodwill of the firm was valued at 520,000, which is not appear in the books. Record necessary journal entries in the books of firm showing your calculation clearly. So on the basis of it, you have to prepare the journal entries. So the previous, they have the goodwill 520,000, and as a goodwill and the capital, the new partner brings those assets. So we first of all make entries of the new partner bring into the business. On 1st of April, he bring land, machinery, stock. It's coming in. Those are assets. So assets account will be debit, land account debit, machinery account debit. We write their amount in a debit side. Debtors account for 40,000 is debited. So you write the amount in the debit side. Land for 90, machinery for 70, stock for 60, debtors account as a premium. So the total amount of the goodwill, did he mention goodwill? Okay, so the total amount of this 90,000 plus 70,000 plus 60,000 plus 40, how much it is? The total is 260,000, right? Are we together? You add all these figures, which is bring by the new partner, 90 plus 70,000 plus 60 plus 40, which is makes 260,000. So 260,000 totally came as a goodwill and the capital of new partner. When the new partner David he admitted with the sharing ratio of 1/13. His profit and loss sharing ratio is 1/13. So according this, we can determine the amount of goodwill. On the date of the admission of David, the goodwill of the firm was valued is 520, which is not appearing in the books. So how much is 1/13 of 520? 520,000 is proportion. You just calculate 3/13 of 520, which is give 120,000. So the balance will be the capital of David, 140,000, because the total amount he invested is 260,000. So 260, if the goodwill is 120, then obviously the capital will be 140. Are we together? Can you hear me?
Yes, Lord.
That goodwill, the 120, has to be shared among the all partners according to their sacrificing ratios. How much they sacrificing ratio you can calculate by subtracting the new ratio from the old ratio. Then 120 will be divided in 3:2, so which is 72,000 and 48,000. So that's how we calculate. Okay. So that's all we are discussing today. We will continue with this, and sometimes when the partner is joining the business or retiring from the business, we also need to do the revaluation of asset. So how to do the revaluation of asset, I will cover tomorrow morning. Before I close the class, do you have any question? Would you like to ask?